What's going on, guys? Welcome to the latest episode of Can I Kick It? This is your host, as always, Elliot Barr, and is joining me are two of the most unique team owners out there in the soccer landscape, Mr. and Mrs. Geraldino. I would like to welcome both of you guys to the show. How are you guys doing today?
Thank you. I'm Sabrina, and I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yes, and I'm Alex Geraldino. Again, thank you, Elliot, for having us on. And I was just looking at your logo and everything. It's like remind me that can we kick it? And it's like yes, we can. It's the whole Tribe Called Quest thing, So
Yeah.
I was just like, can we kick it? Yes, we can. Campaign.
Everyone
It's a
loves
campaign.
it, yeah, right. Everyone loves it. It's the most catchy podcast logo out there. Like I just put it out there, and people were like, "Oh, yes, I can," and it works perfectly, and I love it. So I want to have you guys on because you guys are very unique in the soccer landscape. It's something that we're starting to see the push for more, and that is Black ownership. And both of you guys happen to be owners of a very unique team up in New Jersey. So you guys tell us about this team and everything that's going on up there with that.
Yeah, I'll let you
Yes,
go
I
ahead, Alex.
No. Go ahead, because I'll be here. I'll tell you a story, and I know we're time restricted, so I know. Go ahead. I'll let you in short, and then I'll just chime in. Go ahead.
So, long story short, we started in 2017. Alex is a former NFL European football player and Team USA football player, cornerback, who has a passion for sports. He got involved with USA Boxing, has officiated several tournaments and amateur boxing matches throughout the tri-state area of New Jersey, predominantly New Jersey, PA, I don't know, New York. But so his love and our travels intersected with the soccer world. We would go to Brazil and Colombia, and all of our friends were either soccer players or soccer lovers. They knew that Alex had been at Lee Steinberg's academy and studied to be a sports agent, and that was his next track. He was looking at the NFL sports agents situation when his friends and our friends decided to ask him, hey, help us get to the USA. The economy is better. They assume in soccer. And so a lot of Brazilian players was looking forward to Alex helping them. So we got back to the U.S. I decided to call USSF to find out, how to go about to become an agent. They told me to call back in a year. We didn't know that there was a scandal brewing in with FIFA. And we called a year later, got no reply. I ended up being the publicist that I am, researched who is the president of USSF, called him at his job, Mr. Galati or Professor Galati. And I told him, hey, my husband has his master's degree, is a government official, is interested in becoming an agent. Why is it taking so long? I called a year ago. And so Alex got his application within 5 minutes of that call. So that's how
Can
we
I
got.
just take a moment and just say that is the power of a Black woman? that is the power of a Black woman. I just wanted to say that. But please continue your story.
Yeah, while she takes a drink of water there, I'll interject. Well, the application was submitted a year in advance, so just one of those things that the power of a PR communication person, contact the right individual, and just state the urgency of it. Made that push a lot. For paperwork to get to the legal counsel, who had then called me and said, hey, oh, by the way, your paperwork just came onto my desk. That push made it a lot more, interesting, to say the least. That it's not who you know, but who knows you. But at the same time, she made it happen. Her experience as a PR and communication.
And also the fact of sheer determination, when you're embarking in something and you're really passionate about figuring things out, and you have this one pit stop, a block that's blocking the rest of your goal, you have to figure out how to maneuver and get to where you got to go. So it was a no-brainer. idea of having a soccer team. Alex ended up going to an MLS draft and met an individual that was from UPSL that was like, hey, do you want to become a conference director or a commissioner? And Alex was like, not really, and so the ownership came about. And so that's how we got started on a semi-pro level with no coach, no experience in soccer, and just a goal, a vision. And Alex knows how players should be, like how they should feel, how, what their uniforms, how they should fit, what the locker room needs to feel like to make them comfortable. So, he understood the mindset of the player as well as the scouting and the agency of it, being an agent. And I knew business. So I asked him, listen, why don't you let me help you? When he decided to have a team, he said, we got to come up with a name. And I was like, the New Jersey Knights. And he said some other stuff. And we got other people to weigh in. And he's like, no. Like, that's not it. Like, he came up with the fact that New Jersey is a working state and, Philadelphia Union could be a tie to us because New Jersey, Philly is close proximity and they have the Union. And so the horse, the symbol of New Jersey, the working horse, like, can't get anything done without your horse, right? So that's how we got started. And I use my experience in the entertainment industry to help Alex in terms of marketing and business administration portion of it. So this is where we're at so far, almost 4 years later. And we have a men's pro team that's pending and a women's pro team that's pending to hit the pitch.
Okay. So before you guys 2017, did you guys have any background in soccer before that time period? Like, did you guys used to play or watch or anything like that? Or was it just like 2017, you just like, you know what? We're just going to do this.
You know what? There are no coincidences. When you keep, no experience in soccer, I think I've played soccer in my phys ed class at North Penn High School in PA outside of Philly. Alex had absolutely no experience in soccer. In fact, I've read like Soccer for Dummy, and that's my reference. We went to Soccer X, and we met a lot of people. We ask a lot of questions. We're learning every day. And that's the beauty of it. We're not just soccer, we're entertainment. So we incorporate soccer with entertainment. The entertainment aspect, I've worked with Rakim, Erykah Badu, Beyonce, Solange, Run DMC, so Lil Wayne. I'm applying what during the height of hip hop, before hip hop was big, I'm applying the same techniques that we used into our soccer club. We have a lot of work to do. So we have influential people and well-known and documented soccer professionals on our board. We have Niall Quinn, a former striker with Manchester City. He's also a former CEO of Sunderland. We have Enoch Shinumi, a former UK champion player who also was on the Nigerian nationals team. We have Avi Mittal, who is a co-founder of Indoor Futsal League, the Super League in India, and MMA in India with his partner Amir Khan. We also have Joost de Wit, who is on a UEFA champion, who was the CEO of a UEFA champion Belgium team. He's also a professor at Cruyff, and he's an executive at UEFA. He's on our board. So we have Darren McCartney, who was the director of operations for the MLS clubs in LA and Miami. So we have a team of professionals that advise us, that we trust, and they understand that we're from the ground up. We happen to go opposite. We didn't have an academy. We started from the top down, but there is no blueprint to soccer, the business of soccer neither. Alex could speak to that.
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer that everything that we've done, prior to, it's just, it's led us to where we are now. basically. My experience, 20 plus years of doing procurement work for the federal government, project management, process improvement, master's degree, crisis management, this, that, had led me into my, the opportunity to play sports, not just here, but abroad, both on football, a little bit of baseball. I've been a boxing enthusiast. And, the opportunity is pretty much divine opportunity, we call it, has allowed us to get to this point where we're pretty much using our experience, knowledge and experience, not so much the knowledge of technical aspect of the soccer, but the business aspect of it, has allowed us to get to this point where we're applying and everything that we've learned and experienced onto what we're doing now. And that's why we've become so passionate about what we've done, not just because we're the first minority owners, of a pro soccer team, but the opportunity to or grant the opportunities for others who have been, overlooked and rejected, and say, hey, this is where you need to be. If you want to get to that next level, the opportunity is there. And so we're here for that, to grant, not just to aspire to make, a living out of this, but to aspire to make a difference out of it also.
Yeah, wow. You guys said a lot of powerful things there. And one of the things that kind of stuck out to me that you guys were mentioning is about how you guys kind of worked your way into it, not knowing what was going on, but it's not like that didn't deter you from then going out and getting the right people in place to make sure you not only the club pulls through, but you guys are successful in different endeavors. So one of the questions that popped up with me that I wanted to ask you guys is, when being an African American in this sport, you hear a lot of stories about how we kind of stumbled into it. We're kind of, figuring our way about it. How do you guys take that approach in the community of trying to get new people into the team, into the game of soccer itself? How do you go out into your respective community and bring people into the stadium and make them feel a part of what New Jersey Teamsters FC is doing?
Well, a little bit from what I'm doing on my end. Initially, in the beginning, it was an idea. Like as becoming an agent, the way I addressed it was, okay, I didn't know anything about soccer. I didn't have any connection. So by networking, I had met some individuals that wanted to expand their brand, at least their conference, into the East Coast. And I didn't know anything much about soccer or connection. I said, what, I'm interested in the team, not so much heading a conference. So we ran the team, or we started up the team. My whole idea was to funnel the players through the team. So if they pan out to be anything, instead of me chasing players, we take the pool of players that we have and we identify the talent, and then we can push them through through the system, right? That's still the plan. But except that now we have grown the brand to a point where now we have the women's team, pro and amateur, and at the same time we have an affiliation or minority stake into our first division team in Ireland. So the buck just doesn't stop with the New Jersey Teamsters Football Club. Now it expands itself across the pond to Ireland, now to a first division team. So now we're like, okay, the way I approach it now as a football player is that I go and I sometimes I talk to the football team in the community, the American football team. I say, hey, you know that Odell Beckham and Ndamukong Suh and a lot of the linemen, their foundation was in soccer, right? You know how they created foot frequency and get to a point where they're so athletic now that it's undeniable. At the time, Odell Beckham's mom had him play soccer, track. And so you have to put yourself in a position where you're undeniable. And soccer creates that opportunity for a lot of these young athletes, especially in the urban environment where this, the talent level is out there. It's just now introducing them to soccer and say, you have options.
And if I were to say, to add to Alex, I would say that us not knowing soccer, the ins and outs of soccer, has actually been a blessing, because we were not conditioned to know anything or to do things in a specific way. So we basically are independent, but we've used creative ways to get in 3 years to where clubs that have been around for 10 and 20 years hasn't been able to get to. And it's all off of one person's salary because, you know, we stick to a budget. We're very disciplined. We have a CPA that looks over everything. We want to do things correctly from top to bottom. And so that, because we are minorities, we make sure that that's a priority, period, before anything, because we can't afford the luxury of any type of slip-ups. So we have transparency. We believe in integrity. These are things that, from what we're learning, is not a part of soccer, but it is. It can be. And so I guess that's what we're bringing. Ignorance is bliss, almost.
That is very true. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was doing the podcast, starting the podcast, and I was kind of reaching out to other soccer podcasts to see how they ran things, and just seeing like, you know, the operations of, you're like, whoa, I was not expecting to see all of this. So I'm pretty sure you guys had that same moment of like, you had one idea in your head, and you're just like, oh yeah, this is not it.
Right.
You guys, like you mentioned, Alexa, you guys are the first, you know, African American owners of a professional soccer team in America, and I tip my hat to that. And you know, I'm immensely proud to say, like, as a team up in New Jersey, that the first Black owners there, and I got the opportunity to podcast with them. What were some of the challenges of being the first? Because, you know, I know those challenges were there. So if you guys don't mind highlighting some of those challenges that were there.
I guess I'll start, Alex, because I'll let you go because I know.
I'll go into the ball, but go ahead. I'll let you go.
The first would be because we are brown, right?
Yeah.
I think we're even more third class than Latinos because people know that Latino they know soccer, they know football, but we're like, even Alex is Dominican American. That's like baseball, community, anything but soccer. Soccer is now bubbling in DR, which is great. But for the most part, and me being American woman, female, so Black female, and then the finances. Like we didn't get the investors. Like, you see a lot of teams with 10 investors. They all pull their money together. We now have a WeFunder.com, and some of our family and friends have contributed to it. But that's even a challenge to get people to understand, hey, you have minority shares of a professional soccer team. And we are the first, arguably, American Blacks in the world, not just US, to do this. So it's $100 to get equity, to have minority ownership. And a lot of people just don't get it. They don't get it. So it's actually been, we've been blessed to be able to be resourceful. A lot of us wear different hats in the organization. We're a close-knit group. We listen, we learn, we're open, and the community is important to us. The city of Bayonne has been 1,000% behind us, and Mayor Davis, the county of Hudson, all of the, the rec department on everywhere in Jersey has been really supportive, the governor. So I think we've stumbled onto something, and we haphazardly happen to be people of color. And this happened to be a great moment in history to have people like us do things that should not be abnormal for people of color. This is something that should be a part of regular business 101, how many 100% principally owned Black professional sports team owners do you know?
Very few.
So why wouldn't the average Black man or woman invest $100 to have shares in a professional team, minority owned, with minority ownership, when you will spend that on a pair of outfit? A pair of sneakers costs more than $100. So changing the mindset, because this is legacy, what we're building. We're not building something to last 10 years. this is something for, just like the Negro League, we want to be instoned in history, global history, not just American history. We did a show called I Quit that we filmed for 2 years of our lives that was supposed to be a docu-reality style show produced by people that's done 30 for 30 and, you know, Queer Eye for Straight Guy and other hit shows. So we wanted to showcase that this blueprint doesn't need to be duplicated. You could create your own blueprint to success in soccer, but you can learn from our experiences. We've had a lot of like serious learning lessons.
Okay.
So Alex, do you want to add to that?
I look at it as the sport being a microcosm of what we were facing in reality in life. Just the struggle, the challenges, just the mere fact of getting people on board. It's not a coincidence that individuals that we have befriended that kind of like, that accepted us, that came on board when we didn't have anything or just an idea, they're foreigners. Those individuals that are outside of the scope, they're like, look, I've seen this before and I think it could be done, we'll just see what you guys do. So we had to, take charge and lead the way and show people, hey, this is who we are. This is what we're about. This is why you should believe in our project. I understand that it takes some time for people to warm up to what we're doing, but as individual, as minority owners, I think that, before we go outside and say, hey, America, this is who we are, accept us. We as a community have to learn to accept and embrace what's being created, right? Because the community, especially minorities, they can't back you. They don't back you. Then what's the point? Because we're creating an opportunity. We want to create that opportunity not just for the African Americans, but the Latino community also. Because if you look at it strategically, geostrategic, and the teams that are in place that will give you that opportunity, right? It's a closed network. You either have to be part of their system. And if you're not part of their system, then where else are you going to go? How else are you going to reach that level? And there's a tremendous amount of talent in the state of New Jersey and East Coast, for that matter. And I've identified it as an agent. If I get a minimum of 20 requests a day from players that are seeking representation, not just nationally, but internationally, that's just the minimum, and I can't address everyone. I would like to give everyone an opportunity, but one, they have to be here. Two, it's a process, right? And so this whole platform that we're creating, the New Jersey Teamsterz Football Club, it's about creating opportunities and leveraging that to, getting to everyone to where they need to be, not just for players, for coaches or staff. Everyone aspires to be, to be somewhere, and
even the African players, I'm sorry, even outside of just Latino, but we have a large Caribbean and African community and Middle Eastern community that play for us. So we're pretty diverse in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, being out here in Richmond, that's one of the things that I've always come across when it comes into the African American community, of like breaking down the stereotypes of soccer and like letting people know, look, it's more than just you just run around for 90 minutes. Kind of just breaking down that concept, and then also telling people of like, hey, like if you start up a small club, like these are the benefits that come of it. The same way how in African Americans, we'll pool our money together real quick to create an AAU team or a spring league football team. But I'm like, there's this whole other sport in soccer that's not touched, there's, untapped. And if you guys dive into that, the possibilities are endless. So much more kudos to what you guys are doing. I'm going to ask you another question about the club, but I'm going to push that one to the side. And you guys mentioned yourself, you guys did a docu-reality series called I Quit. What was that whole experience like? How was the show? How was to have the cameras on you? I don't know. What was it, 24/7 or 9 to 5? How was that for you guys?
I'll start off with that really quick and simple. So I growing up, New York City, Harlem, we're not accustomed to being we don't want to be in the limelight.
Oh, I know how y'all all on there.
We're just low profile, low key, and
Yeah,
observant.
I know how y'all are.
And so when we did our casting for the first time, I remember and I guess still get teased on this, they were like, the first question they ask you or they asked me was like, hey, how are you communicate? Do you communicate often? I was like, I only speak when I'm spoken to. Period. I don't shell out information. I don't give you, So they were like, okay then. And then so Sabrina and had to clean it up a little bit. And so, but then you could go ahead, you could dive into that. So.
Well, I represented reality star Karen Gravano on Mob Wives. I've done some work for a couple of the girls from Mean Girls show, and another PR show that I can't even remember name, but dealt with placement there. And my girl Kim Osario was in that one. That show was a VH1 show, Gossip Girls, I think. But cameras, I was looking forward to showcasing who we are and what we're about, because I think we're relatable. People think that I'm bossy. That would be the stereotypical ideal of what a Black woman or brown woman is.
I was gonna say, you don't gotta sugarcoat it.
Yeah. So I wanted to number one, I'm a lot of fun. I am the fun girl, and Alex is the serious person. Like, he never even drank alcohol when I met him, and he's like having hot toddies now with Jameson. Like, he's not, I am the fun of the group, I guess.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Elliot. I know you guys are really enjoying this real unique story, but we got to pay bills around here. So, make sure we provide you guys with more unique episodes. So, the sponsor is from the Non-League America, who has been exploring the diversity of the United States through the lens of soccer since 2012. Non-League America makes documentaries highlighting ambitious clubs that are pushing the boundaries of what is possible both within the confines and just outside the system, built without their interests in mind. These clubs are building the foundation of American soccer community from the ground up. So, if you support us, go support them. Check out that latest documentary, Non-League America, Volume 15, More Than Ready, the story of Goldsboro Strike Eagles FC, on Facebook or YouTube. And also make sure to follow them at Non-League USA on Twitter or on Facebook. So, with that being said, here's back to the episode.
So I wanted to make sure people knew that you could work hard, change your career. I'm leaving hip hop, going into something totally unknown, which is scary at my age. I have a 32-year-old daughter. So it's not like I'm, hey, 32, 35, and I'm changing my career. And I had a lot of disagreements with Alex because he didn't want to film each day. Now, they gave us a self shooter at home, 2 cameras initially in our house, and we could turn it on 24 hours, however long the tape runs. And I would just turn our cameras on. And then they would shoot once or twice a week in the car, going out, wherever we were, at the stadium, in the house, because we were working from home as a startup. This is where they shot a lot of. So with that being said, it was an interesting experience. Would I do it again? Like, I don't know. I would want to be in control of what could be said about us, because we didn't know it was going to be a challenge show. And then we have mentors that we never had mentored us, that we met for 15, 20 minutes with one mentor, So basically, I would do it differently, and I would word my contract differently. But I think the experience was a good experience filming, because Alex got a chance to come out of his shell and understand that, it's okay to showcase all of us, our struggles as entrepreneurs, because he's a bureaucrat. I'm an entrepreneur. We have different styles. People should have been able to see more of that, which we're definitely different in meeting deadlines, you know, just all in various ways we're different. So it was good. And then, you know, I didn't agree with how they portrayed people of color, because it was like, if I wasn't doing something that was servicing you in some way, we weren't good enough. Like somebody had to be the bad guy on the show. And it was us, because number one, I'm outspoken. I could handle anything. I'm from Philly. If you know any, yeah, you know that, you know, we're not, it takes a lot to break us. And I think we were shown in that light. And it was weird because they would say, "Oh my God, how do you like the show?" And I'm like, no, I don't like it. I don't like how
a lot of it has to do with the feedback that we were getting also, like people
right.
that, you know, who knew us, and they were like, hey, you know, we're looking at this differently. Are you seeing it the same way? And it was just like, you know, even from my coach's, you know, side and his people, they were like, man, you know, do you work with her, or, you know, or something? How is that? You know, there was different questions each week. We'll have to go back and try to clean some things up and to clarify some things. And, you know, but all in all, it was fun. It was fun and all. And I think that, you know, we have some lessons learned from it. And, you know, of course we'll do things a lot differently. Not to say we'll regret it. I didn't regret it. I mean,
no,
it was, I was able to see myself for the first time and identify some flaws that I had, and be able to rectify. So you take the negative with the positive, you know.
You don't have any flaws, honey. You're perfect.
Listen, yeah, okay.
What are you
They were like at one point, they were like, put that money back. You took $1,000.
Well, that
was my money.
No, so basically, Alex has been spending
my money. I saved it and I put it back. You know,
Alex has been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to support our club, right? We have sponsors, but they don't nearly touch what it costs to run a semi-pro amateur club, right? We had 2 teams. Mind you, our stats were outstanding. We always ranked number 1, number 2. We're definitely champions. Like, we earned our where we're at, we earned our way because we worked hard. So he, as a bureaucrat, did not put on the check that he was loaning the team $1,000 for whatever. He loaned the team more than $1,000, but he wanted $1,000 back, right? But you have to say repay loan. You don't just write a check to yourself in a business from a business standpoint, right? But that was his learning curve. He is a bureaucrat. They handle paperwork totally different. I know from working one-on-one for 27 years with my accountant that I can't do that. But that was a mistake I made when I first started business. Like, you figure you can just write yourself a check. No, it doesn't go like that. You have to account for every penny. So it wasn't about him taking money. And then I also was like, listen, are you paying yourself a salary? Because I haven't gotten paid in 3 years. So if anybody's going to get a check, it's going to be me first, right? So that's why I was confused, because he didn't explain. No, he just walked into the garage.
You weren't confused. You came out and say, put that money back. I'm like, shut up. Like, go over there, man. Go over there, man.
And people think my husband is like, they're like, oh, you emasculate Alex. No, the hell I don't. Listen, I have fun with my husband. I wouldn't dare disrespect my husband. That's number one. And how people see a powerful woman, he loves to debate me. Like, that's all he does. Like, when I met him, he debated me so much. I was like, oh my God, I can't date you. You're like debating me on every single thing. But that's what we do. We love it. We don't argue. We just enjoy our differences. And so people think that I'm bossy, and I am bossy at work. I'm supposed to be bossy at work. That's what bosses do. And they say, oh, women are emotional. I'm not crying. That's emotional to me. Like, telling you frankly what it is, what time it is, and how we're going to do things. That's not emotional. That's like straight to the point.
No, not at all. Like, from the clip I saw, there was one point where you were describing how Alexis spent like I think it was your 401k or something.
Part of his money.
Yeah, part of his money to go buy the team. And he didn't tell you about it.
Right.
And the way how you
Did you see the show?
I didn't see it. It was a clip I saw.
Oh,
I was
okay.
doing research. And the way how she was describing like how she felt, I was like, if that doesn't sound like my wife, when I go out here and do something and don't tell her about it, I was like, oh yeah.
You have to share financial and partnership information with your spouse. Why wouldn't you? I was looking for a condominium with that money in Miami, ready to like kick my feet up, hang out with my girls. My friends all live in Miami. You know, this is a great time. We could still be around sports related people and entertainment. And he just one day said, oh, hey, like, stop looking. I bought a team.
And that team happened to be New Jersey Teamsterz. So I wanted to ask you guys too, over the course of this summer, you know, everything that happened with the George Floyd protest and all the, you know, rallies across the nation, where did you see your team fitting into that role of being not only this club owned by, as I call you guys, the Obamas of soccer?
Ooh, I like that.
How do you guys? Hey.
We're gonna you with that, Elliot.
Hey, look, I'm all for it. Let's get some T-shirts made with it. How do you guys see your role in the cultural diversity that is now taking place within soccer, where you see clubs making these statements or, you know, trying to have more inclusion involved into it?
Well, number one, I am an American. I see a lot of clubs that are, there are a lot of African-owned clubs. We don't have the same experiences, and not to say that they don't have racial experiences when they own a business here in America or just living in America. However, we have ancestral 400 years worth of issues that they can never relate to me. Alex can relate to me as well because he's a Caribbean enslaved, went to Dominican Republic or wherever.
I wasn't enslaved.
Well, no, part of your history from Amsterdam. Yes, we know about your national lottery family, Dominican Republic. Geraldino's created the national lottery, la, 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 la. Yeah. But your black side, your Africanism came from somewhere, right? Africa, enslavement, right? So if a league would have, or even in terms of our TV show, there was a Canadian person, Black, that was leading up the compliance for, what's appropriate and what to say and not to say and do in terms of television with African Americans. I forget what that title is off the top of my head. What is it, Alex? You think about it. But
okay, yeah.
we have different experiences. So why not call on us to bring us to the table? Because our experience as Americans, I mean, you have Sierra and Russell Wilson. They're minority owners of an MLS team. Like, why isn't there a coalition of us that we're having conversation? We're a part of a lobbying group to create policies, to implement social justice reform or social reform within soccer. Being a minority woman females are minorities as well. Like, I'm building a coalition of women, professional and former professional soccer players and influencers and executives, so that because we need to have dialogue and create space that is conducive for female soccer players and soccer executives, or just women in sports, soccer owners, whatever that is. It's hard to do this, but I've got to figure out how to do it. That's the only way that we're going to be able to make real change. It can't just be for this moment, just like the Dr. Martin Luther King, my cousin's moment in history. And it's a big moment and it still translates, but like, how has it changed drastically? Has there been a change drastically? No, we're going through real things right now.
Yeah,
in
no,
the country.
definitely. It's unique to see because my role in all of this is a lot different. I mean, obviously, your guys' role. I'm looking at it from like a soccer supporter, as you say, role, where I'm seeing you guys up in New Jersey. Then I see like DeMarcus Beasley in Indiana, Charlie up in New Hampshire, Corpus Christi, and I'm seeing like these black ownership bodies start to pop up. And me and my group of friends that are also black, soccer supporters, we're all talking about it. We're just like, we're kind of living through like the 1920s, roaring 20s moment of like, man, I'm gonna be able to tell my kids 5-6 years down the road, 50, 60 years down the road, to be like, I lived to see black ownership when it first started off. Almost like how my grandparents told me about the Negro League, about how all that started off and how they got to live through it and see the bumps and the bruises of how that league was brought about, but then the lore of it.
But see, that was a coalition of people. Like, we don't know each other. I don't know any. Alex knows a few presidents. Do you know any black owners, Alex, of teams? I know a few. Do they?
I know a few.
A few of. So, like, you're telling me all these teams.
I maybe know just one person, not even a few.
Right.
Let me ask this: why do you think? Oh, my fault. I'm sorry.
No, we don't have dialogue with these people.
No. I was just going to ask, like, why do you think there is that disconnect between, black owners? Do you think it's just because there's not a lot of them, so it's like kind of hard to figure out where your feet at, or just because it's based in different leagues? Does that cross?
Yeah, I think it's like I said, it's a microcosm of society. It's like, we're taught to be like, okay, being independent, disenfranchise yourself from the community. Where, at certain instances that's where you have community leaders to bring folks together, and help them understand that, you can't go about this individually. In order to succeed, you have to know what the next person is doing. You have to understand, study, what to do and what not to do, and align yourself with individuals that are getting to that level, right? Not to say that we're there, we're aspiring to get there, we're pushing all the right buttons. So, thank God, we would like to, and we're in the process of formulating our own network, basically, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not who you know, but who knows you, right? And we try knocking on doors and say, hey, can you let us in? Can you let us in? We would like to, but it doesn't happen that way because systematically this sport has been a good old boys network, good old boys system, basically, right? So what can you do? You can only present your product, do what you need to do, control what your environment is, what you can control, and then you move forward with it. And whoever wants to align themselves with you, we can only post and put things out and say, hey, we're not here to take anything from you. We're here to give back, and to promote and say, hey, this is an opportunity. We're not, I'm not trying to take away from anyone's program or take over someone's youth program. I said, look, if a kid has a talent level, why not allow him to participate and be part of what we're doing? And you can form an affiliation or a group and a network, and everybody ends up prospering from it, right? But because we think as individual and be like, oh no, I want to hold on to what I have, and pretty much that's it. And that's why you have different ideals and ideologies, and my program is better.
But my friend who is abroad living in Italy, she told me something about in terms of Africans, right? Her living in Italy as a Black American from Jamaica, she cannot tap into other African girls with children of her age because it's tribal. So we operate genetically, perhaps, based on tribalism. If you're not from my tribe, you are not with me.
It's human nature too,
You're not necessarily my enemy. You're just not where I'm sharing that. But we have to understand that as Americans, we've been our own tribe together for 400 years. So we have to continue that, not to take away from anyone else's. But I mean, we are a tribe, and it's just to have a think tank of how we can better soccer for Black and brown people, and just any minority, Jewish minority. I know during Hanukkah, we always celebrate every ethnicity. And one of our players thanked us and didn't know that, like, yeah, no, we have Jewish players as well on our squad. This is
To
nothing
say
new.
to say, when he sent us a note, he was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you for recognizing." It was like we have about two Jewish players. He's like, "Thank you for recognizing blah blah blah." Our culture and the fact that you celebrate Hanukkah, but he didn't know I was like when we did our DNA, he didn't know I was Jewish too. So he was like, "Oh gosh, I'm not alone. Thank you even more."
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's the whole point, It's just like it's just not a black and white. It's not a Muslim, Jew, Catholic. It's not. It's about
We have
taking
every
the sport. It's taking the sport and say, hey, you have this sport, and we share common grounds to it, and then that's how you integrate and get everyone to participate. And we have a diverse amount of players, on our team, from Jewish to black to white to
Muslim.
Muslim, Jewish,
We're the bridge, and soccer is the bridge to everything, to all these cultures. That is the bridge to our community.
Yeah, most definitely it is. It is. It's the most unique sport in the world that can bring all these different cultures together and be like the mixing pot. That's supposed to be. I want just a couple more questions. I hope I'm not, taking too much of you guys' time.
No, it's just fun.
When you guys sat down to design the club, choosing team colors, choosing team name, all that stuff is great. But I think one of the most important questions and one of the harder questions to come out is what do you want the club to stand for and be? So I wanted to ask you guys, what's the club's philosophy both on and off the pitch?
Alex?
Go ahead.
Our motto is to stand ready to strike, at every opportunity. That's just who we are. Our mission is to provide an opportunity to our diverse culture, to our diverse community, to give them an opportunity to get to the next level. That's been our mission. That's what we've been doing. We don't hold anybody back, from the players to the coaches, et cetera, et cetera. We're here to win matches. We're here to set an example on and off the pitch. That's as players and front office. So everything that we do is a reflection of the team. And that's based on, like I said, integrity and transparency. And standing ready to strike at opportunities that are presented to you or to any player or to any person within our organization.
Yeah, just to add on to the philosophy, just also, bringing the best of an individual's capabilities, to benefit the club, as a collective, without personal or professional egotism. And yeah.
Okay. I love that. I'm shaking my head because I'm like, oh, I love this. I love all of this. So you guys also went through a rebrand. You guys made piece by piece of showing us the logo. It's kind of the Twitter tees. I'm trying to make sure I get that right. What was behind the rebrand and all of that stuff?
Well, we did study that showed that Generation Z is the only generation that's disconnected to sports and the sports experience. As a whole, as a group. And so we wanted to tap into that market. A lot of our players are Gen Z that we're looking to send to Europe. We're focused on that generation because we have the Generation X. We're into soccer. Like, we are the mainstream soccer foundation besides the era of when Pele came in to New York Cosmos. And the professional league started in America. But we're that generation that is thriving and making soccer the fastest growing sport in America. But we're missing Generation Z. They're on they're digitally attached to their computers. They're not going to matches. They're not involved in sports necessarily, not in soccer. And so that's where we decided, hey, listen, we're in an urban metropolitan community. Having an urban feel with the Z comes into play. It's time for a new crest, as well as rebranding and attracting that Generation Z.
When you guys made the transition from being in I want to make sure I get the league right, NPSL?
UPSL.
UPSL, okay. The alphabet soup of American soccer leagues always throw me off. When you guys were at UPSL, you guys are not making the transition to NISA. How did that all come about, and how are you guys getting ready for that challenge of being in NISA?
So the challenge wasn't even a challenge. It was a timing, where we had faced some. The starting point was it was in transition. Our whole thought was that at some point in time we were going to make that transition to a pro level. It just so happened that it happened sooner than later. Divine opportunity, of course, the timing. We just like all of a sudden we went into a tournament, and there's some things that didn't go our things that happened, and we were just like, you know what, we can't stay in this amateur level and expect growth. We had to make the push to a pro, and we did that. We submitted our application. After our tournament, we won our tournament, the UPSL. Beat the I think it was the Mass United team, and then it was just time to move on. Because at the end of the day, from our collective discussion and gathering, folks from the outside internationally, they don't really respect anything that's not pro. They barely respect pro level here. They're starting to recognize it a little bit more now. But we understood that if you want to have any type of serious discussion or even take them serious, have them take us seriously, we had to get into the pro level. That's Sabrina.
Well, I don't remember what we're talking about.
the pro thing, how we ended up, the whole process.
Definitely timing. We had experiences that we were like, we wanted to do more. We wanted more exposure for our players, for our brand. We were spending the money, so we were like, it's time to do something different. And lo and behold, a little research, and we found out what NISA was about, and it fit our philosophy. And that's how we got involved, basically. With the women's team, they found us, and we did our research on them. They have players that go into the U.S. national team, women's team. We want to be a part of that. We want to put our footprint in women's professional soccer in the U.S. And so this is where we're at.
And I love where you guys are at. I love where you guys are at.
Thank you.
Another thing I want to ask you guys, how has COVID, because I've talked to other owners and other leagues and stuff, how COVID has affected them. How has COVID personally affected you guys? And were there some things that that personally make you guys change the club?
COVID has definitely been a learning lesson. Thank God that we've been, health-wise, we've been good. Even though one of our staff member, went through the process, went through the whole COVID situation, and fortunately that he's come out, on the positive side of things. It was a scary situation. Operational wise, we had to put some things on hold. The trials, we wanted to start it a little sooner, but that didn't happen. So we pushed everything got pushed back, and we just started, I think it was in last July, we started our trials, and we have identified We had trials. We had over like maybe 300 players, 300 to 400 players, try out within the course of like 3 to 4 months. Actually, it was 2 months, right, Sabrina? 2 months. Because every other week it was a lot of players, and that kind of like, okay, well, wow, where all these players, I'm getting players from California, uh, from Florida, Minnesota, a ton. And it was like, well, what's going on? And the problem is, it's the opportunity again. So we couldn't go full steam ahead because we were limited with the whole COVID scenario as far as the facility we were able to use. Thank God that we have great relationship with the city here, so we assured them that we would take the proper steps necessary to test and make sure that all the players, abide by the rules, let's say wear masks, etc. Um, and yeah, but as far as that, we're still, operating. We still have, we just haven't played a match yet, but we're looking towards that, in the first quarter.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the opportunity and time to come onto the podcast to share you guys' unique story. It's one that I'm looking very, very forward to supporting and rooting for in the next couple of years and decades down the road. And tell my kids, like, I got to interview, the Bombers of soccer.
You better tell your kids that you invested your $250 so you could have equity and perks.
That is very true.
Just I'll give you a refunder because it's nothing to be a piece of us. Because when I tell you I'm going to make you a billionaire, I can't promise, but that's my goal.
I love it. Where can people reach out to you guys? Reach you guys at?
Sure. We're at New Jersey Teamsters, spelled NJTEAM like Mary, STERZ like zebra, F like football, C like club.com on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Dugout. And then we are at NJ_Teamsters, spelled the same way with the Z at the end, _FC on Twitter.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that being said, guys, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Right now, so we can ride.